Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these coins. So actually, it's looking pretty good when we're looking at all the top cap coins, and I'm getting pretty excited actually. So even if Bitcoin continues to rally and moves into the $60,000 or so, I think the top cap coins are going to also rally with it. And if Bitcoin doesn't, and it keeps getting rejected around these areas, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it kind of hangs around here for a little bit too long, these alts, these top cap alts are going to rally with it beforehand, I should say. So yeah, they're going to rally beforehand. So in a nutshell, what I'm talking about here is how strong the top cap alts look. And even though we're going to have small caps, which we all love, you know, we talk about a lot of small caps on my channel, especially in the Telegram chat and the Patreon. Yeah, there'll be a live stream tonight, by the way, for those who want to pay £7.50 a month. You get 16 hours worth of live streams a month. Yeah, we love the small caps because they move so aggressively. But for the moment, I think the maybe not the biggest moves, but the most positive for the overall market is going to take place with the large caps. So a quick look at the DXY, which is bouncing, which is probably why I suppose Bitcoin and altcoins not suffering, but they're feeling a little bit of pressure at the moment. So most of them are up ever so slightly, but there is a bit of pressure on them, and it's because the DXY is bouncing. So this is DXY on the daily. If we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see that they've actually had a bit of a rally these last few hours. So yeah, that's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. I mean, it's clearly not impacting crypto too much at this stage, but you know, a continued rally, you know, probably would. But for the moment, I really don't think that's the case. We're significantly rejected around here. I think that this is likely to be the rejection area, 92.6, 92.7, and then we'll find a nice rejection around there. And it's probably at that point that we will see this mega rally across the board. That's generally how these sort of things work. The correlation with the DXY is undeniable, really. And if we have a look at Bitcoin dominance, we're still floating around in this zone. Will it or won't it break to the up or break to the down? I think personally, I think it's inevitably going to break to the down, but at the moment we're just floating around in this area. We used to say let's hedge into Bitcoin when we touched this, and when we did that, you know, quite a few times, quite successfully. And again, you could probably do that again now. I mean, that's basically the rule of the trade here. But as the Bollinger Band gets tighter and tighter, and these moving averages get lower and lower, we're basically you know, moving into I suppose a asymmetrical triangle kind of formation. Anyway, that aside, let's move on to actual crypto. So as I said, you know, the DXY is sort of rallying a little bit at the moment, which is probably why we're seeing a little bit of down pressure on some of these coins. But overall, this video is about the top cap coins. So let's have a look at these on the daily. So this is EOS on the daily. Okay, so pretty bullish actually, above all major moving averages. This is Link, not quite as good as EOS, but still above all major moving averages. This is Ethereum, not as good as either of those two, in fact, but again, basically above most moving averages. And Litecoin, probably the worst of the lot here, but still above the majority of moving averages, but below the 10. So let's start with EOS, which does appear to be the strongest of the lot. So it's a coin that I chart on this channel quite frequently, and things are getting pretty interesting with it now, especially when we're looking at these. You know, these are the top caps here, and yeah, I mean, EOS, as far as its chart's concerned, is better than the majority. So we go to the 3-day. I'll show you something quite interesting. So if we just have a look at the nature of EOS versus the Bollinger Band on the 3-daily. All the way down, every single candle, even after this dramatic downfall, has closed above it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is the biggest candle that we've had, or sure, it's not the biggest, but the most bullish candle that we've had, because it's the first candle that's opened above the 10 exponential on the 3-day. This, if it were to continue on the 3-day, and bear in mind this is a 3-day, yeah, the top of the Bollinger Band would bring us up to $5.37, and maybe we'll probably revisit these areas up here of $5.56. Look, this is just EOS on its own. It's nothing other than that. Golden cross incoming. If we were to stay above, which is very, very likely, stay above this 200 exponential, we'll get this golden cross take place on the 3-day, and likely to have continuation from the move thereafter. But because it's a 3-day, this is going to take probably a couple of weeks before that is in play. And at that point, we're pretty much set with the moving averages all in the right place at the right time, and the uptrend should then at that point continue. Also, if we just briefly look look at this. I've got this down the middle. This isn't a trend line, by the way. This is something I use to represent what we're looking to see. I use this as a mirror, so this will be the mirror of what's to come. With this chart will then look like this, but probably over a lot shorter space of time. So I am looking for a full reversal of trend with EOS, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but that's fine. And if we have a look at the Ichimoku cloud, bring that up, we've got this bullish sign here, a conversion baseline cross above the cloud, which is a really good situation to be in. So this again would suggest continuation on the weekly. So everything does look really good for EOS. Let's have a look at Link. So again, above all major moving averages. These are a little bit nondescript, really, but I'll probably say that what we're looking at here is like a bullish reaccumulation, as all these moving averages aren't really diverging at this stage. It's trying to start something, but it's unable to actually do it. Now we have a look at how it's behaved in the past. You know, we have these big moves up, I suppose big moves down, and quite large, long periods of consolidation, really. Now, if we try to make some form of method within this madness, you could argue that, from what I can see, just from looking at it, is that there is some form of a triangle formation taking place here, and this is roughly how we're going to be looking to play this one out. Break out or break down. I think, you know, given the rest of the market and what's likely to take place, is that there's going to be a breakout. So, you know, this isn't the way to trade it, but I would argue that this might be a worthy place to even try and take a long if you get the opportunity, which would be if you got the chance to take a long at this trend line here, because it's held up so far. The wicks haven't, obviously, the wicks have gone below it, but candle body closures on the daily has held within this zone. So I would expect that, you know, this would be a decent place to long, even if we're going to get rejected and come back down. I think we're going to break out of this one eventually, and then, you know, because most people have forgotten about how this one likes to move, we'll just remind them. So you can do a measure move from the mouth of this area. Roughly it would look a little bit like this. Wherever we break out, this would be where we're looking to move to. So into the $40 region, basically, into the $40 area, even if we broke out right at the apex of that. So I would expect that this would be a decent move to have. And, you know, whether we complete that move at that level and it gets rejected from there and comes down, I don't know. But this is how I choose to view this at this stage. This is basically the vibe that I'm getting from Chainlink. So it's looking pretty bullish in my opinion. Right, let's have a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum not quite as bullish, but it's basically, it looks very much like a Bitcoin chart, but a tired one. So Bitcoin looks like this, Ethereum looks like this. It's basically doing the same thing. We have a look at these, this isn't particularly bullish, nor is any of this actually. However, you know, if Bitcoin breaks and this one breaks out with it, and we get some nice some more divergences with Ethereum, then yes, we probably will look at retesting these previous highs. At the moment, it does look pretty tired. It doesn't look like it wants to do anything. It doesn't have that kind of conviction, I would say. But it's looking pretty good. The weekly's looking a lot better though. So long-term continuation is almost certainly going to take place. But in the short term, it's not really offering us anything. Now, if we have a look at the way that it's behaved here, on the 3-day, we've got a retest every 3 days, basically get a retest of this 10 exponential for over the last week, basically. So it wants to move. It's just not got the courage to actually go ahead and make that move. But overall, you know, it's doing exactly what Bitcoin is doing. But when it wants to go, it will go, and it will help the rest of the alts. So as you can see, these top cap alts are basically doing what Bitcoin's doing, and that lends itself to the way that the Bitcoin dominance looks. The way that the Bitcoin dominance chart has basically flattened out around this area, and it doesn't know if it wants to break out or break down, basically is a representation of how alts, or at least Ethereum, is copying Bitcoin for the moment. And finally, Litecoin, the weaker of the lot, but still not particularly, it's not bearish. We're above the center of the Bollinger Band, which is good. That's what we want to see. Yeah, like I say, it is the weakest of the lot. So, you know, this one looks to me like it wants to come down a little bit even further from here. But so long as we hold above the center of this Bollinger Band, which is facing up, using that as support, then this will begin another trend. Again, it looks a lot like Bitcoin, but a much weaker version. It's in fact, you could probably argue that it's a few days behind. So we got this move here with Bitcoin, come down and snaked back up. What we've got here is this move up with Bitcoin, moved back down, but not yet moved back up. So, you know, Bitcoin is still dominating, you know, by proxy. These alts, these top cap alts, are kind of mimicking Bitcoin. all apart from EOS, I would say. EOS is the only one that looks different, and this is one of the reasons I like EOS. It's it's decoupled, I'd say, from the overall market. Really, it does its own thing. I mean, it does trend with the market, but you can see by the nature of the chart that it's very different to those last three that we've looked at, or at least these last two that look very much the same. This one, with Chainlink, it is different, and with EOS, it is also different. So these two I'd put more weight on for a bigger move than these two, because these two are just copying Bitcoin, and as you can see, Bitcoin's coming down at the moment, I imagine as a result of the Dixie pushing up. Once we get that rejection from the Dixie, it'll be good to go. So spot allocations in these three or these four, I don't see any particular problem with averaging into these coins around these zones, and I suppose even with Bitcoin, to be honest with you. But the bigger move, in my opinion, is going to be with the altcoins, and especially with these two, EOS and Chainlink. Ethereum and Litecoin, they can do whatever Bitcoin wants to do. It will take them with it. At the moment, like I say, these three have more or less the same chart. These two have different charts with different options to them. Chainlink has got a formation to break out of, and EOS has actually got several signals on it to suggest that it's got the power to make the biggest move. So you might think I'm crazy when I say that, but I do think that EOS is going to make bigger moves than all of these four. So yeah, feel free to say how ridiculous that sounds in the comments, and unsubscribe if you find it offensive, because I appreciate that EOS gets under people's skin for some reason, but it does look good. I can't lie to you, it does look good. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, and I'd like to see you at the live stream this evening. So links in the Patreon in the description of this video, as well as links for everything else. 20% off trading fees and blah 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 blah. There's loads of perks and things in the links below. Other than that, I'll catch you next time. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.